Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Lady Show English. I'm so glad you're here today. In today's video, we're going to talk about something really important: how alcohol affects our brain health. This is a topic that touches many of our lives, so let's learn some useful English together while exploring this important health issue. Are you ready? Let's get started. Today, I want to share an important health topic with you. It's about alcohol and how it affects our brains. Many of us enjoy a glass of wine with dinner or a cold beer while watching a game. These seem like normal, everyday activities, right? But have you ever wondered when drinking becomes too much? When does a casual drink turn into a health risk? Recent research has shown us something quite alarming. Scientists have discovered that heavy drinking can seriously damage our brains. But what exactly is heavy drinking? According to researchers, heavy drinking means consuming 3 or more alcoholic drinks every single day. That might sound like a lot to some people, but for others, it might describe their regular routine. So what happens when someone drinks heavily over a long period? The study found that these individuals face 2 major problems. First, they're more likely to suffer from severe brain bleeds. Second, their brains start to show damage much earlier in life compared to people who drink less. In fact, the research discovered something shocking: people who drank 3 glasses of alcohol daily had brain bleeds on average 11 years earlier than those who drank less. Imagine that. 11 years is a significant portion of our lives. Let me explain what a brain bleed actually is. Medical professionals call it an intracerebral hemorrhage. This happens when a blood vessel inside your brain suddenly ruptures or breaks open. When this occurs, blood leaks out into the surrounding brain tissue, causing damage. It's a serious medical emergency. Brain bleeds account for about 15 to 20% of all strokes. While that might seem like a small percentage, it's important to know that bleeding strokes are typically more dangerous and disabling than other types of strokes. There's another type of stroke called an ischemic stroke, which makes up about 80% of all stroke cases. In an ischemic stroke, a blood clot blocks a blood vessel in the brain. Without blood flow, that part of the brain can't get oxygen and nutrients, and the tissue begins to die. Both types are serious, but brain bleeds tend to have more severe consequences. Now, you might be wondering, how common is heavy drinking? The numbers might surprise you. In the United States, about 17% of adults binge drink, and 6% drink heavily. That's millions of people putting themselves at risk. Even more concerning, in 2024, nearly 30 million Americans aged 12 and older had what doctors call alcohol use disorder. This is a pattern of drinking that's so excessive it causes problems with physical or mental health. Every year in the United States, 795,000 people experience a stroke. Out of these, 10% are bleeding strokes. That's nearly 80,000 people each year facing this dangerous condition. But who exactly is at risk? Unfortunately, anyone can have a bleeding stroke, even children, though it's rare. However, the risk increases rapidly as we get older, especially after age 55. Why is this? Well, the most important risk factor for brain hemorrhage is high blood pressure, also called hypertension. As we age, our blood pressure tends to rise naturally. This makes older adults more vulnerable. But here's something concerning: doctors are now seeing more strokes in younger people. Why? Because more young adults are dealing with obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure. These conditions used to be problems mainly for older people, but they're becoming increasingly common in younger generations. Our modern lifestyle, with too much processed food and not enough exercise, is taking a serious toll on our health. High blood pressure is incredibly common. Nearly half of all American adults, that's almost 120 million people, have hypertension. Many of them don't even know it because high blood pressure often has no symptoms. However, some warning signs can include headaches, shortness of breath, and nosebleeds. If you experience these symptoms regularly, it's important to see a doctor. Alcohol isn't the only substance that increases stroke risk. Other drugs, particularly stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine, can also cause strokes and brain hemorrhages. These substances, along with alcohol, raise blood pressure suddenly, which puts enormous stress on blood vessels in the brain. When blood pressure spikes too high, vessels can rupture. High blood pressure doesn't just cause strokes. It's also a major cause of chronic kidney disease, heart disease, and artery disease. It's like a silent threat working throughout your entire body, slowly damaging your organs over time. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Medical experts have some clear recommendations. For people who have already had a brain bleed, or for those who have warning signs on brain scans, doctors strongly recommend stopping alcohol completely. If that's too difficult, they suggest drinking very sparingly, no more than 6 times per year, and never more than 1 glass in a 24-hour period. For everyone else, the key is prevention. The single most important thing you can do is get your blood pressure under control. Visit your doctor or even check your blood pressure at a local pharmacy. If it's high, work with your doctor to bring it down. This might involve lifestyle changes, medication, or both. Lifestyle changes can be surprisingly effective. One of the easiest and most powerful changes is adding aerobic exercise to your routine. Walking is perfect, it's free, requires no special equipment, and almost anyone can do it. When you walk, focus on good form, stand tall, keep your shoulders back, swing your arms naturally, and breathe consciously. Even 30 minutes of walking most days of the week can make a real difference. Diet matters too. Reducing salt in your food can help lower blood pressure. The Mediterranean diet, which includes lots of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, fish, and olive oil, has been proven to improve heart health and reduce blood pressure. It's not about strict rules or deprivation, it's about choosing healthier foods most of the time. The bottom line is this: while enjoying an occasional drink might be fine for most people, heavy alcohol consumption is dangerous. It can rob you of years of healthy life, damage your brain, and increase your risk of a devastating stroke. Your brain is precious, it's the control center for everything you do, think, and feel. Protecting it should be a priority for all of us. Now that we've covered the main content, let's look at some important vocabulary, phrases, and grammar that appeared in our discussion. Understanding these will help you read and discuss health news in English more confidently. Let's start with some key vocabulary. The word consumption means the act of using or eating something. When we talk about alcohol consumption, we're referring to how much alcohol people drink. Another important word is severe, which means very serious or extreme. We also used rupture, which means to break open suddenly. When a blood vessel ruptures, it tears and blood leaks out. The phrase cutting down on is very useful. It means to reduce the amount of something you do or use. For example, I'm cutting down on sugar means you're trying to eat less sugar. Similarly, you could say, I'm cutting down on screen time or cutting down on spending. We also talked about things being linked to something else. This phrase shows a connection or relationship. For instance, heavy drinking is linked to brain damage, means there's a proven connection between these two things. You can use this in many contexts. Exercise is linked to better mental health or stress is linked to heart disease. Another common expression we used is account for. When something accounts for a percentage, it represents that portion of the total. For example, bleeding strokes account for 20% of all strokes. This is very useful for discussing statistics and data. Let's look at some grammatical structures. We used many conditional sentences, which are very important in English. For example, if your blood pressure is high, you should see a doctor. This is a first conditional sentence. We're talking about a real possibility and its consequence. We also used, if that's too difficult, they suggest drinking sparingly. These if-then structures help us discuss causes and effects, which is essential when talking about health. We also used comparative structures frequently. When comparing things, we said more dangerous than and earlier than. For example, people who drank heavily had brain bleeds 11 years earlier than those who drank less. Understanding comparatives helps you discuss differences and make comparisons clearly. Passive voice appeared several times in our discussion. We said brain bleeds are caused by ruptured vessels instead of ruptured vessels cause brain bleeds. Passive voice is common in scientific and medical English because it focuses on the action or result rather than who does it. Other examples included it's called an intracerebral hemorrhage and blood pressure can be checked at a pharmacy. Some useful collocations, words that naturally go together, include heavy drinking, brain damage, blood pressure, health risk, and lifestyle changes. These word partnerships are important to learn as units because native speakers use them together automatically. We used several phrasal verbs too. Pop open means to open something quickly and casually, like pop open a can of beer. Cut down on we already discussed. Another was bring down, as in bring down your blood pressure, which means to reduce or lower something. Time expressions were important in our story. We used over a long period, every single day, most days of the week, and in a 24-hour period. These help us talk about frequency and duration, which is crucial when discussing habits and health recommendations. Finally, we used several hedging expressions that make statements more careful and accurate. Words like might, could, typically, and tend to show that we're not making absolute claims. For example, this might sound like a lot or bleeding strokes tend to be more serious. This is important in academic and professional English because it shows you understand that few things are always 100% certain. Well, that brings us to the end of today's lesson. I hope you've learned something valuable, both about protecting your brain health and about using English to discuss important health topics. Here at Ladies Show English, we focus on bringing you real-world English through health, food, travel, business, technology, and environmental news. Our goal is to help you learn English that's practical, relevant, and connected to everyday life and current events. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new lesson. Your support means the world to me and helps me create more content for you. Before you go, I've prepared some practice exercises below to help you review what we've learned today. Take your time with them, and remember, you can always come back to the video if you need to check something. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.